gRAD or GRAD stands for Global Rapid Album Designer and is our 4th generation album designer with a completely new and innovative workflow that lets you view and edit the entire album at once. The workspace is divided into a simple toolbar with a menu, your spreads here on the left and your photos here on the right. At any time you can hide the photos with the eye icon here, bring them back. You can change the size of the spreads with the plus and minus. That makes them larger, and the minus makes the spread smaller, and the number here denotes the number of spreads per row. If you're left-handed, or if you prefer, you can have the photos on the left and the spreads on the right. You can have gallery selected photos denoted by the thumbs up. You can have them first in your list of photos. Otherwise it's the sorted order of your uploaded photos, and the file name will appear when you hover with the mouse over the photo. You can change the size of the photos, and scrolling is just using the mouse wheel, or if you're on a iPad, I would suggest using your fingers on the far left and the far right. There is also a full screen button, which gives you a little bit more screen space, but this doesn't work on an iPad or an iPhone, only on the computer it seems. Let's first talk about manipulating spreads. You can create a new spread by clicking on New Spread up here, or keyboard shortcut C for Create. If you want to create a blank spread in between two other spreads, you can press on the plus symbol that appears when you hover with the mouse. You move spreads by dragging the spread number, so we can move this into here, or we can move this up here. There is always a current spread indicated by the orange number. You can simply click on a spread to make it current, and we'll come back to that soon. You delete the spread with the trash icon, and if there are no photos here, gRAD won't ask. Otherwise it will ask depending on your preference setting. Preferences can be found in the File menu under File Preferences, and here you can turn on or off confirmation on deletion. If you want to see guidelines for the gutter, you can turn that on. And if you have an album with a predefined size, that will also show you the trim lines. But this is a universal album, so it doesn't know what the end result will be. You can change the background color simply by selecting a color here. We'll stick to white for this presentation. Okay, let's look at how we get the photos onto the spreads. So let me first get rid of all the spreads, and then tapping C just create some blank spreads. And what I can do now is I can drag photos onto any spread. There's a shortcut. If this is your current spread and you click on a photo, it will go to that current spread. So I can say make this the current spread and then add these photos. There's another shortcut if I create another blank spread. Keyboard shortcut N for next adds the next unused photo. So with these keyboard shortcuts I can quickly create some spreads using C for blank spread, N for adding next available photos, I can of course move photos between spreads. That's very simple. Or I can move photos within spreads, like so. If I want to get rid of a photo, I'll just drag it off, or I can drag it back to the photo collection. You will notice now the used photos are denoted by these check marks. The gallery selected photos have a thumbs up. If you're looking for a photo that you see on the spread here, but you don't know where it is in the photo collection, you can, let's scroll down here, you can click with the middle mouse button and I will show you the corresponding photo here in the photo collection. So middle click on a photo is a good way to find other candidates for that photo. Okay, now that we have the photos on the spreads, let's talk about the layout on each spread, and that's template selection. So what you can do is you can click on this icon and that will show you the list of matching templates for this spread. So you can just click on a template and it will use that template. You can also use these next and previous icons to quickly browse between different templates. And the keyboard shortcut for these two are the left and right angle brackets on the keyboard, the ones that look the same way. You can flip a template horizontally and vertically. And the keyboard shortcuts are the arrow keys on the keyboard. Left and right arrow is for horizontal, up and down arrow is for flipping vertically. There's a shuffle button here which rotates the photos in the various apertures. But the shuffle button will keep horizontal photos within horizontal apertures and vertical photos within vertical apertures. So it would never drop a vertical photo in a horizontal aperture, for instance. Keyboard shortcut for shuffle is S. gRAD also supports user-defined templates, and they can be turned on or off here. Okay, the next step is to fine-tune the layout for each spread. Let's get rid of this one. So you do that by simply clicking on the spread, and that brings that spread up into a full screen mode. What you can do here is to zoom in or out, or panning. You can also swap two photos by dragging and releasing on another photo. And then you can move to the next spread. You can do something here. And that's the last spread. There's a shortcut for going between the spreads, and those are the left and right arrow keys. And when you're done, you click on Save. If you're working on an iPad, you might want to turn on this preference setting for show zoom pan controls. And that way, in that way, you will see these little icons that you can use to zoom and move the photos. Because as of a year ago, Apple decided to disable the pinch zoom in such a way that it zooms the entire page, not the photo, so not my fault. The auto layout dialog comes up anytime you don't have any spreads. If you have gallery selected photos, the auto layout will suggest using the gallery selected photos, but you can of course create an auto layout with all photos. And the number of spreads is only a suggestion, so you can change the number here if you want. But let's stick to the proposed number of spreads with the gallery selected photos. In order for this to work, it's important that you keep the EXIF data in your photos when you export them from Lightroom or Capture One, so that gRAD knows when the picture was taken. At any time during the design process, you can undo and redo whatever you've done. So let's delete all the spreads. create some new ones. And then if we look in the undo menu, you can undo the last command by clicking on the first item here. Or you can go back to the start here. And then if I undo something, it will end up in the redo menu, so I can redo all the way back to where I was before I started undoing. The undo and the redo history is saved as you design the album, but once you save and exit the designer, the history is lost. An essential feature of any album designer is the integration with album proofing. In gRAD you can access your client's comments by clicking on the comments menu, and here we see that we have some new comments. When I select these comments, they will show up here above the photos, and you can see the comments here immediately, and you can see with this icon here, the filled speech bubble, that this is the corresponding spread now. So in this case the customer is asking if this photo could be larger, so we could just select another template and then we're done with that. And then we can go to the next speech bubble, which would be this one. You see some spreads don't have a speech bubble and they don't have any comments. Here they wanted the shoes on the right, so I can just flip the template. Next speech bubble is here. They want to get rid of this photo, so I just drag it back. And the next bubble is here, that's the last comment. And they want to swap these two photos, that's easy. Okay, and then my album is ready for the clients again. A useful tool once you've designed the album is to know which photos that you have used. So you can see in the file menu, show used file names. And here you can list all the file names separated by different delimiters, depending on if you're using Lightroom or Capture One or Bridge. And you can also add any suffix. You can, for instance, if you shoot Canon RAW, you can get a list like this. You can get a list like this, and this you can copy and you can paste it into the search function of your RAW converter. In summary then, the idea behind gRAD is that you can quickly decide which photos belong together. So you figure out on which spreads the photos should go. And don't worry too much about layout yet. Once you have used all your photos, you can turn off the photo collection here. You can make the spread smaller to give you a global overview. And then you can start figuring out for each spread what's the best template or layout. And then in the third pass you would go and fine-tune each spread. So you click on the first spread, you make little adjustments, you go to the next spread, so quickly going through each spread, just having a final look. And once you're done, your album is ready for album proofing.